Thank you. On behalf of my sister and our entire family, I want to thank AJC for honoring the memory of my brother-in-law, Jerry Rabinowitz, with the Moral Courage Award. Jerry's moral compass, his compassion, his bravery were not just evident in the last moments of his life, but throughout it. Many of you have heard or read stories of Jerry's personal and professional qualities. The tragedy of Jerry's murder has been national news, and it's made our mourning of his passing more public than we would have chosen. But it's also meant that many who did not know Jerry have heard stories of his compassion. Jerry was one of the first doctors in Pittsburgh to treat patients with AIDS before the disease even had a name. He touched the lives of those patients, literally by not wearing gloves when other doctors insisted. He made sure that they knew that he and the medicine were there for them. He was a highly credentialed physician who chose family practice over a specialization and often treated several generations in a family. Jerry's patients' tributes to his care, concern, and compassion are a legacy that any doctor would be proud of. But I wanted to take a moment to speak of the Jerry that I knew as a member of our family. Jerry came into our family over 20 years ago. It was apparent to all of us right away that he was a fundamentally decent, warm, selfless, and loving person, a person deserving to be married to my sister Mary. And in getting to know Jerry's mom, Sally, his brother Bill, and Bill's family, it was clear that Jerry's wonderful qualities were a Rabinowitz family trait. I hold on to great memories of Jerry, his devotion to my sister, his acquiescing to her adopting yet another cat in the house, his recitation of the 4 questions, the Vier Kashes in Yiddish at our family Seder every year, and of course, his trademark bow ties and hearty laugh. But the one memory that really sticks out for me is his care for my parents. As my folks got older, travel to family simchas, weddings, bar mitzvahs, graduations became more difficult. And Jerry was always there, taking the flights with them, driving them all over creation, pushing the wheelchair when walking became too much. Jerry could always be counted on and never had to be asked. He even did this on trips to Israel so my parents could attend the weddings of their grandchildren and the births of their great-grandchildren. October 27, 2018 was a terrible day. My wife and I were here in D.C. when we heard about the shooting at Tree of Life. It took so long to hear any news that it was only after we landed back in Chicago that we learned Jerry had perished in the attack. The stories immediately emerged that Jerry, who was a weekly regular at his congregation Dor Chadash's Torah study, had run toward the sound of gunfire in the shul. It was the kind of act that the first responders from Pittsburgh, or true heroes, are called on to do every day to keep the community safe. I admit that my first thought was, Jerry, how could you do this? You have to be there for my sister, and you ran toward the gunfire? But I quickly realized it was the only thing that Jerry could have done. It was in his nature. He was a healer, and there were people who may have been hurt. Jerry was a past president of the Dor Chadash congregation and a regular at Shabbat services. He was known to always stand when the mourner's Kaddish was recited. He had seen so many patients in his community die with no one to say Kaddish for them that he took on this mitzvah. More evidence that he cared not only for the body, but also for the soul. I now stand when the mourner's Kaddish is recited as my tribute to Jerry. When members of my congregation in Chicago ask, I reassure them that my parents, who are in their 90s, are still with us. And I tell them about Jerry's custom, and they understand. Thank you for recognizing Jerry's character with this award and affirming what my family have always known about him. Thank you.